welcome to the Watering Hole. We're sitting down today with Mr. Mike Ryan. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing just fine. How are y'all?
I'm doing great. You get to play Tumbleweed tonight, and you've been here multiple times before, I
Oh, yeah.
hear. So what's it like coming back to a place that you've already played and have like a reputation in a town?
Man, well, I can't say we've ever had a bad time
Yeah.
in the walls of this place. Some wild times, but it's we've played Calf Fry a few times and played the Weed a bunch over the years, and we always look forward to the next time we come back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
So right now, who are some artists that you're listening to? Like when you get in the bus to go to the next venue, like what are you putting on?
Man, so I mean, this is maybe not the most interesting answer, but I kind of listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff. So like,
We love to hear that.
now that I've been on this, so I'm gonna have to go back and see some more of y'all's previous work. But I mean, I like to listen to a bunch of different stuff, and but I do listen to music occasionally, but it's usually not artist specific. I'll just put on a playlist and just kind of let it go. I find myself like getting frustrated trying to find individual songs, and so it's just like playing DJ has never been my strong suit, so I just find a playlist and let it go.
Yeah, sweet.
Are you a Spotify or an Apple Music guy?
I mean Spotify mostly, but whenever I play, whenever I get in my truck, Apple Music automatically starts playing.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I'll listen to that. I have both. It's kind of a redundant streaming service, I guess. But there's being in the music industry, I don't feel like my money's going to waste. You know, it's going somewhere.
So what's like your favorite podcast? Because I know we both listen to a lot of podcasts. We were actually just talking about Joe Rogan and Theo Von's podcast when we were out there waiting.
I mean, that's it pretty much.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't listen to every episode of either. I mean, I'll go in and kind of handpick or cherry pick whatever if I see somebody interesting. But yeah, the most recent one that I listened to was Taylor Sheridan on Joe Rogan the other day. And I'm a big fan of both of those guys, but Taylor especially, just the shows that he's created and been a part of, they're really cool.
Are you a big comedy fan as well?
Yeah, I haven't been to a ton of stand-up shows, like live comedy shows. I've been to a few of them, and there's enough to know that like you go and like when you're seeing it live in person, it's just a completely different experience than when you're watching it. Like when you're present, I don't know. I feel like
for sure.
I just laugh way harder, and it just gets like it gets me like when you're experiencing it with the room full of people. It's really cool.
We were talking about that earlier. Kind of, it's almost like you go there expecting to laugh, like you're like looking forward to laughing, and so you can really get immersed in that when you're there. Yeah,
a couple Nashville visits ago, I was in town by myself, and I just saw somebody. I didn't even know any of the comics on the lineup, but I just had the night off and went to Zanies.
Yeah.
And I saw like 3 or 4 acts, and I was like, I wonder how this is gonna be just going out by myself. But it was fine. They sat me right next to a couple of guys that were super cool. We had a couple drinks and like didn't talk to them much, but the show was great, and I was very much enjoyed myself when I was there. So
I've actually been to Zanies before.
Have you?
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because it's like the only like real like comedy, like big comedy spot in Nashville, and I always hear like comedians on podcasts talking about Zanies is awesome and whatever. And so I went there, had to be like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and we just like, wow, we want to go see a comedy show. So we saw a guy named Arnez J. We had no idea who he was, and he was hilarious. It was awesome. It's kind of cool, like not knowing anybody's comedy, like knowing what to expect, and then just kind of hitting you. And
yeah,
it was pretty cool.
So you mentioned Taylor Sheridan a minute ago. So I'm assuming you're a Yellowstone fan?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so how do you feel about the spinoffs coming off of that? Do you like those as well, or?
Oh man, yeah. 1883 was arguably my favorite of the trilogy, I guess. The Yellowstone, and then 1923. I don't know. I'm confused as far as like how it's worked. I think there's still more to come from 1923, or I don't know if that one's done. I don't if there are more. I haven't seen them, but I feel like I saw the first half of it. But 1883 is crushing as it was at times, it was just like so. Like I was just captivated by that show. I thought it was so great. Like the actors were just, I mean, fantastic. I'd seen Tim McGraw in several other things before, so I knew that we were going to see something cool from him. But he like doubled down on all his other cool shit that he's done. Like he was the man, you know, and everybody else too, all the supporting cast and stuff. I've just really been a fan of that show. But even back like Sons of Anarchy, he was on that, and then that's the King of Tulsa, or no,
Tulsa King.
Tulsa King, yeah. That one's pretty cool. And then the one, there's a bunch of other stuff. I like his work, and I live in Granbury, and I don't know how much time he actually spends at home there, but Taylor lives in between Granbury and Weatherford as well. I've never been to his house, but I know he lives just right down the road. So, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
to know.
that's
like
pretty
maybe
cool.
I'll run into him somewhere
exactly.
at some point. But.
So it sounds like you're a big like drama series fan. Am I right? So like, what's your like favorite like TV show that you like to binge or watch, or that you've ever like?
Man, I've seen Breaking Bad all the way through, probably 3 or 4 times, and like if I just stumble upon it, I'll just sit down and watch. And then of course Better Call Saul after that was great. That one had a lot more dialogue, and not as much action, but it was still like very interesting in other ways. But yeah, Breaking Bad's probably my favorite all time. But now, I mean, I have 4 and 6 year old boys at the house, so they usually end up controlling the main living room TV until we can expand and have a game room, playroom situation. Like they're getting most of their screen time on our big TV there.
Not Bluey and Paw Patrol, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But there's been some shows that have come and gone that I was happy to see go, and we've made it through the Blippi phase and the Coco Melon stuff. But yeah, I mean there's way more interesting content. I'm sure some of it's not all that good for them, but there's just so much more than there was when I was a kid. Yeah. Of course, we don't have them on iPads or phones or anything like that. Like the only screens they're having are like the TVs, and they watch movies and those shows. But that's wild out there.
There's
stuff. I mean,
are they to the point yet where they're like, Dad's so cool, he's like playing these shows and in front of all these people, or are they just kind of like, it's whatever? So,
it's interesting because there's a lot of personality from both of them, but they're very different. Mm-hmm. And my oldest, we got to play the Grand Ole Opry last year, and I brought the family up on the bus. The kids got to ride the bus with me, and when we were on the way there, MJ, my oldest, he said, "Daddy, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. I want to play country music, and I want to play the Opry." And that's the first time he'd ever said anything like that. And he's super proud. Like, whenever we get in the car, like, more often than not, they want to listen to one of my songs, and they've got their favorites. And they both have guitars, and they'll strap on their guitars and pretend to play them.
Cool.
I mean, they're not pretending; they're playing them. They understand what I do and are proud of that, and that's really cool to see. But we'll see what happens. I'm by no means gonna force it on them or expect that they do what I do, but as scary as it might be if they actually decide to follow a career in music, I'll have their back 100%.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see them appreciate what I'm doing, and they're definitely proud. And coming home on Sundays is a lot of fun. I mean, we all miss each other, but when I'm home, it's like Sunday morning through, Thursday morning, pretty much. I'm there, like whatever we need to do, and we'll just be gone on the weekends. But no 9 to 5 keeping me away from them during the day. So that's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
So what like inspired you to get into music and start playing and singing and putting yourself out there as an artist?
So music was definitely something that was on my dad's side of the family. Early on, I won't say it was forced on me, but like we've got 3 or 4 band directors on that side of the family, and then a bunch of different bands aside from that they played in, and just music ran through our whole family on that side. And so nobody was cracking a whip, but there was like we had multiple instruments around the house, and it was kind of expected that you have to play something. You don't have to play this, but you have to find something musical to do for a certain amount of time every day. And we had a piano, and so that's kind of what I would plunk around on. But it wasn't something that I was overly enthusiastic about until I got to high school. I was in choir in middle school and in high school as well. I played saxophone in middle school. But once I started playing football, that was my main like thing in high school. And I was in choir, but there were several like times when there was things that were happening in choir, whether it would be UIL or shows that we were doing or rehearsals and stuff, that I would kind of put on the back burner to make sure I made my practices and workouts and all that stuff. And so much to my choir director's chagrin, shout out Christy Brown, who she's been super cool. Like since then, she'll come out to shows. It's really cool to see her, and she was always one of my favorite teachers. So if you'll see this, Christy, love you. But anyways, so music was always kind of there, but it wasn't until football was over my senior year of high school. I knew it wasn't going to be a college thing for me. And my girlfriend at the time was a year ahead of me, so she was already off at college. And after the second semester of my first semester of my senior year, I didn't have football anymore. I didn't have anything really to occupy my time, and so I just came home and I'd start playing guitar. And my dad and brother had been playing guitar for several years before that, but it just wasn't something that had piqued my interest.
Mm-hmm.
And but then once I had all that time on my hands, and I was just kind of, it was an emotional time. I was struggling with, never going to play football anymore, and like losing that kind of camaraderie aspect in my life. And then so I just wanted to have something to do, and really I just leaned into the guitar. It was wild. I mean, I've never before, or maybe even since, had the same sort of tenacity about anything that I'd taken up, but I would just come home from school and like go to my room and turn on the radio and try and learn how to play songs that I was listening to, or pull up country tabs and learn songs that way. And just 4 or 5 hours a day I was playing guitar. And so I progressed and got, to where I could accompany myself and play songs and sing. And once I got to college, I started writing. That relationship didn't work out, so now I had all kinds of fuel for songwriting, and I found it to be very cathartic, writing about, just shit that was going good or bad, and so yeah, that's kind of where it progressed. And then it didn't seem like I had many haters early on. I had a lot of people that were like, dude, you're really good, man. You're like, you want to come play a show with me, or you want to write a song or whatever. And so I was just really encouraged. And early on I found a lot of friends that were kind of like-minded, and we'd just go play shows. And the more I did, the more I was just fired up about learning. And I'd come back home, and for like 4 or 5 years, I mean, I was just, I didn't do anything but play guitar. Like I just wanted to do that, and that's all I wanted to do. And then that changed to kind of playing and writing, and that when I started writing, that was really kind of the that was when I started thinking, like, man, I feel like this might be something that I could do. And throughout college, that was really the only way, aside from a couple of side jobs that I had no interest in progressing with. Music was something I was like, man, I feel like I'm better at this than anything else that I'm doing. So let's just give it a shot. And, yeah, after I finished up with college, it's really all I've done since. And it's been a sometimes up and down situation. It's definitely not a career path for the faint of heart. A lot of swings,
Yeah.
you know. But I'm well suited for it, and I enjoy it. So
Awesome.
short story long.
What would you be doing right now if you hadn't gotten into music?
Man, so I really like to cook as well.
Okay.
So I don't know that I would want to go the restaurant ownership route, but I mean, maybe at some point. That's a whole other thing that is, well, as most business ownerships, I mean, they don't come without stresses, but that being a chef, like, just because everything has to happen so quickly and efficiently, and if it doesn't, like, you can find yourself in a lot of trouble. But I mean, I'm a big Gordon Ramsay fan, Master Chef, and like, there's a lot of shows that cooking shows that I like to watch. And
I'm a huge Bobby Flay fan.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
he's cool too. And yeah, like, there's been a bunch of, ever since I was a kid. I mean, the first book that I ever checked out at the library was a cookbook. I bring it home and then I start cooking shit. My parents are like, "What are you doing?" Like, making dinner.
I'm
Like,
putting
all
food
right.
on the table, Mom.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So that was cool. I mean, I feel like it would be something in the culinary world, maybe.
Yeah.
Either that or the outdoor the hunting place. I mean, I've been pretty much all my life been interested in music, hunting. I fish too, but it's mainly hunting, outdoor stuff, and then cooking. I like to play golf too, but I would never see myself. I mean, I've been playing for a long time, and I've shaved a few strokes off the game, but I'm still, I'm by no means a good golfer or somebody that would take me seriously anyway.
I'm glad you brought up the golfing, because we've heard that you're a pretty avid golfer. You like to golf a lot, and we have a golf series that we do on our channel as well. It's called 9 Holes and 6 Strings. Like, we take artists out.
Okay.
We'll go golf, do like a little short. We'll do like a 2-on-2 scramble against like the artists and whoever they choose, and us do. And we're both terrible at golf, so that's great for our egos, putting our 109 stroke games out there on YouTube. But our original idea was actually like, see if you want to go play golf sometime.
Oh,
and
man.
I always thought it'd be like a really cool video.
Then we were
to
looking
do.
at the weather, and we were like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Maybe
kinda,
not in January.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably not.
So we'll come back again maybe in the fall semester or sometime, and or whenever we're back in
Yeah.
the area.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
that can be a anytime we're around
Yeah.
situation. I'm always looking for an excuse to go swing the sticks.
Yeah.
Man. So,
What do you have in your bag? Are you a Titleist, Callaway guy?
man, I'm a Mizuno guy.
Really?
Yeah, so I've been swinging Mizunos for 5 or 6 years now, and I like them. I mean, I haven't tried everything, and I'm not like, I'm not constantly buying new sets, but I was like, probably 7 or 8 years ago, I went in for a new set of clubs, and I tried 4 or 5 different kinds, and the Mizunos were the ones that I was just feeling the best with, and I really liked them. And then after a few years of playing with those, I switched over to a Blade, and I don't know that I'm good enough to play with blades, really, but I was finding, like, I was really trying to work on being able to shape shots, like having a fade or draw or intentionally. And with the cavity back clubs, it's just a lot more difficult to do that because they naturally want to fix those. And so to do it on purpose, it was just more difficult. And so I'm not great at it, but sometimes if you see something, like I'm rarely in the center of the fairway, so I've got to hit sometimes around things.
Yeah.
And if you have those baby fades or draws or whatever in your bag, if you can hit them, if you know how to, then they're pretty handy. And so I got another set of Mizunos for that. And that's what I'm still playing now. And, some people don't like Mizunos. Some people don't like whatever. I mean, there's always, it's opinionated.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like bow hunting too.
Yeah.
I'm a Hoyt guy. I shoot a Hoyt, always have. It's just what I like. But some people, they swear by the Matthews or the PSE or whatever. So yeah, I've got Mizunos. I've got a Ping. My fairway woods and drivers are their Pings. And then the wedges and irons are Mizunos. I got a Mizuno putter too.
That's awesome.
So.
I typically specialize in what you would call a slice on the golf course.
Yeah.
For me, so
I'm just trying to hit the ball. As long as I make contact, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Oh,
Yeah.
it went in the woods. That's fine. I'll just get another ball.
Yeah.
I just started though, so I really started playing with like last summer, and
Yeah.
then it was like, okay, let's start doing golf videos. I'm like, I am terrible. I just started.
Yeah.
So like literally the first couple videos are just me just absolutely being terrible on the golf course. But lately, when we haven't been filming, I've been improving.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like I've been getting better, and I'm hopefully going into this next year of doing like some golf videos. People will start to see some improvement in my game. It'll be kind of cool.
Yeah.
backtracking real quick to the cooking. When you're home off the road, what's your like go-to meal to cook for the family?
Man, we have I've got a lot of kind of different options. We'll do some repeats frequently. I mean, I'm a big steak guy, so I usually prepare the main, the main protein and maybe a side or so, but she's the side queen, so she gets the green. She's the one that makes sure we have something green on the plate. And I'm happy with that. I mean, I like it, but usually the main protein is what I'm focused on. But yeah, we like seafood. I mean, any kind really. Salmon and cod are probably most frequent. Shrimp sometimes, but yeah, nice ribeye or the kids like meatballs and pasta, and there's a lot of things. It's interesting though, cooking for.
Well, howdy, folks. Welcome down to Bad Brad's Barbecue. Hey, stop looking at Gus. Stop it. All right, folks, you see here, Jacker's trying to throw some cornhole, and he just can't get her done.
I just cannot hit anything today.
I see that, Jagger.
Man, you gotta have some bad brads. You play that crap when you're hungry.
Vernon always coming in clutch with the barbecue. Oh, yeah, look at that bite, folks. All right, Jagger, let's see it. Look at that, right nose.
Bad Brads, where you can't help but be good.
Like Jagger said, folks, Bad Brad's Barbecue, where it's good to be bad.
For children, because one day like we'll put something on their plate and they'll like scarf it and say it's the best thing that they've ever had. They love it. A couple weeks later, we'll cook them the same exact thing, and they'll like look at it on the plate. It's like, I don't like that. They won't even take it a bite. It's like, dude, this is bullshit. Like, you're lying right now. You're just like you're gonna wait. You're just they'll take one bite of it. It's like, I'm full. I want dessert. No, you're gonna wait until we tell you to go to bed, and then you say, I'm hungry, Dad.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
You being from Texas, and I've seen some stuff on your Instagram too. You're a big Whataburger fan?
Oh yeah.
What's your go-to at Whataburger?
I mean, depending on like just normal, I'll probably number 2 jalapenos. So sometimes, I mean, I'll usually get the fries too. They throw them in there.
They're
But,
just there. You know.
But yeah, cheese and jalapenos. Sometimes I'll just go with a single patty, Sometimes I'll go with the triple. You know, it just depends on how long it's been since the last meal, I guess.
So, being you said that like if you weren't doing music, you'd do like something like culinary. In the spirit of whenever you hit it big and like go get a Las Vegas residency, I can see like in the spirit of a Toby Keith's Bar and Grill, you can have Mike Ryan's Steakhouse,
Oh,
and
man.
you can just do all like steak and steakhouse stuff. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
I think it'd be perfect.
As long as I have a very trustworthy business partner and people that can run that shit without me. Yes, it sounds awesome. You can use my name. Just do right, and we'll keep it going.
I think
but-
even even the name sounds right, like kind of Ruth Chris's is Mike Ryan.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's
yeah,
perfect.
Ryan's Steakhouse.
Yes.
Well, there was, I don't know if this was like a everywhere thing. Did y'all have, so you know Golden Corral?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
did you ever see a Ryan's that was the same kind of thing?
I never
So-
saw one. Yeah.
I don't know if it was just a Texas thing, but it was actually pretty cool. So it was pretty much like a Golden Corral, but when you come in, they have that whole buffet option. But if you prefer, you can go up to the counter and order yourself. They have got steaks,
Yeah.
and then they'll bring it to the table, and then
Yeah.
you can do the buffet too. But you just buy your steak and then the buffet. But we would only. This was kind of like an after church thing for us, and so when we were younger, we always just went straight in, started going, for the chocolate fountain or the
Yeah.
cookies or whatever.
They used to have a place in Springdale that was kind of similar to what he's describing. Western Sizzlin'.
Okay.
Yeah.
Western
Yeah.
Sizzlin'.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's kind of the same
Okay.
concept.
Yeah.
It's like by no means a fine quality
Yeah.
steak. It's a decent steak, but they got salad bars, which are, man, you don't see those anymore. Salad bars, like where you go up and just build your own.
Yeah.
Some-
I would agree.
They used to be at a bunch of different places, but like Jason's Deli or something.
uh-huh.
You find them there, but more often than not, there's those old steakhouses like of the past where you can tell there used to be. They might even still have the cart.
Just nothing
But-
in it.
Ever since COVID, man.
Dang.
Freddie Paul's here in town. They have a salad bar.
They do,
in
don't
there.
they? Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Oh,
I
really?
forgot. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
there's-
that's nice, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Even if you don't have everything, just to be able to go build you a little salad.
Yeah.
bar.
I never thought about that, but you're right. Like I've never seen as much salad bars as I feel like I used to see salad bars around.
Yeah, the self-serve thing.
Yeah.
The self-serve options, they're just becoming.
Is it just
Fewer and
because it's
far
like
between.
too much effort just to kind of keep it filled up with stuff?
Man, I think there's probably a combination of things, but the main one being just the I don't want to use the wrong words, but to keep people from getting sick,
Mm.
Oh,
because
yeah.
there are so many
Yeah.
The
different
sanitary.
the sanitary.
Yeah.
That's what I meant, because the sneeze guard only goes so far.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, or maybe just keeping it in stock or keeping it fresh all day, and if you don't have enough customers and it's been sitting out all day, you got to throw it away, and then it's just
Yeah.
wasted. So
Yeah.
that's probably got something to do with it as well. But again, I'm not in the restaurant industry
Yet.
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 So
So I don't
Ryan's
know all these
Steakhouse
things.
will have a salad
Yes.
bar.
Yeah, as long as it's cost effective.
Do you have a favorite? So there's the chain steakhouses like Outback, Texas Roadhouse, Longhorn. I may be missing a couple, but do you have a favorite steak house?
Man, as far as the chains go, no. I mean, I'm not against them, but I'm not choosing one or the other for any reason. I guess I'll go eat at all of them. It just
Mhm.
depends on how close I am at the time. If it's the convenient option,
Yeah.
that's where I'm going most of the time. And if it's a choice, then it's probably not one of those places. It's
Yeah.
probably like just a nicer. Well, I'm not trying to sound too bougie, but if I'm going to have a celebratory meal or something,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
probably
for
not
sure.
going to Outback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
People at home watching this are like, what?
Sorry, Chili's. I mean, whatever. Y'all make a decent fajita plate, but
Have you been to the Cattleman's in Fort Worth?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yeah, right there in the stockyards.
Uh huh.
Yeah,
Have you been to the one in Oklahoma City?
I have not.
Okay. I was gonna see which one you like better, but have you been to either one of them?
I've been to the one in Oklahoma City, but I
Okay.
haven't been to the
Is
one in Fort Worth.
Funny story about the one in Cattleman's. When I was first in college, I went with some friends to go see Cross Canadian Ragweed. They were playing at Billy Bob's, and we got there early. We were going to go down and eat dinner in the stockyards and then go to the concert. And we're all like college kids, college budget. Like we got our tickets, so we're good. But we don't have, just a ton of money to spend on anything at all. And we get down there and we're like, all right, Cattleman's looks good. We walk in and sit down and look at the menu, and immediately I'm like, oh my God, it's like $50 steaks. Like, I don't have that today. So we sat down, looked at the menus. We're like, okay, let's, we all kind of looked at each other and made it out. Went to CC's around the corner, got some pizza. But I have been back to Cattleman's since, and they'll fire you up a good steak, and it's a nice place. But worth the money.
Yeah.
I just didn't have it at the time when I went in there.
Do you have any like crazy or funny road stories, like being out on the road with the band or anything like that?
I'm sure I do. Man, right on the spot. I don't know of a good one at this point. They're all kind of situational. Like if we can somehow rekindle the memory, like they're tucked away in there somewhere. I just can't recall any right now, but that I'm willing to divulge anyway.
Yeah. I'm sure the ones that you're like, oh, I remember that. You're like, I don't know if I want to say that.
Do you have a favorite venue that you've played?
Man, it's hard to pick favorites. There's some places like we've played them a bunch of times, and sometimes they're great, sometimes not as good. But it's so I feel like out of state is probably there's categories because we're based in Texas. We play a lot down there, but then there's other places outside of the state like. Grizzly Rose in Denver is a really cool place. We've done that one a bunch of times. I got to play the Aztec Theater in San Antonio with this was several years ago, and the Aztec was the so I'm from San Antonio, and so that's part of the allure, but it was the first, if I remember right, the first theater that was ever built in Texas, and so it was like just super old, and like I've always been a fan. Coming up in the family that I did, we were constantly going to musicals and symphonies, and my dad was in musical theater, and so just being in theaters in general was always a big plus for me. And so the Aztec is just really cool. That the setup of it. The Majestic is probably my favorite theater of all time. That's in San Antonio. It's not far, a couple blocks from the Aztec, but it's like 2 or 3 times the size of the Aztec, and I've been to hundreds of shows in that room. I've never gotten to play it, but that's definitely a show that I hope to
On
do
the
one
list,
day.
Yeah.
But no, it's hard to pick favorites. I'm looking forward to playing. We always look forward to playing here at Tumbleweed.
Sure.
We were gonna make sure that was in there no matter what.
Oh,
We
yeah.
were gonna cut it. Tumbleweed.
We were just gonna cut in just like a random clip of you just saying the tumbleweed. We're just gonna put that in
Splice
there.
it,
Yeah.
No, but I mean, really, we played. We did the first calf ride we played. We did the after party in here. That was cool, and then we got to play the big stage calf ride as well last year. And yeah, we've been out here and played a bunch of times, and I can't say I've ever had a bad one. Had some damn good ones. There was one time though. I'll say this. I feel like this is and I don't judge the guy. I never even met him, but there was one time I was playing here several years ago, and we were I was on stage and I was playing a song. Probably When I Drink Beer or Can Down or something, or maybe I wasn't playing that at all. But I somehow got a beer in my hand, and I was being encouraged by everyone to shotgun this beer. I was like, all right, well, I'm not scared to do that. So I asked for a knife because I didn't have one, and somebody threw a fucking open pocket
Oh my
knife
god.
from somewhere in the crowd. It hit me right in the leg and skipped off the stage. I was like, ow, that hurt. I was like, I didn't think anything of it. Grabbed the knife, poked my beer, shotgunned it, and I don't know what I did with the knife afterwards. But after the show, I'm pulling my boots off, and I've got a bloody sock. Like the
Yeah.
knife went through my jeans, through my boot, and stabbed me in the leg.
Oh my god.
And I didn't even realize it at the time. It was right here on the shin. So, yeah, I learned a lesson. I'm happy to shotgun a beer. I just have to bring my own knife. Like I'm not gonna. I couldn't imagine somebody would ever throw an open pocket knife at me, but it was like they needed me to have their knife, and they weren't close enough to hand it. So,
But the fact that they were like, let's think this through. Let's open it first, so he doesn't have to go through the inconvenience of opening the knife whenever he gets his hands on it. Let's just open it.
Yeah.
That's the right idea.
I know. I could not believe it. But yeah, I've been stabbed one time in my life, and it was right here in the weed. So
I feel like there might be a couple more people out there who are like, yeah, I've been stabbed at the weed too.
I hope
happens.
I hope whoever threw that knife somehow hears this and knows what they did. But I'm cool with it. Just don't throw any more knives.
Yeah. That's great.
So-
I was say, do you have any like other like crazy fan stories like that? People like flocking you or whatever?
I mean, no more than
A knife being thrown.
that's
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
that's probably the, like I said. So I never would have thought of that had we not somehow circled back to it. But
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more. That's definitely got to be the most like the craziest story. Anyways, I've never bled by fans before.
You can say you give your blood, sweat, and tears to
I
to your
mean,
fans.
yes, sir.
Well, I know there's going to be a crazy fan here tonight. Trina, she'll probably watch this, and she'll be on the front row for sure. She'll
Okay.
be on the front row. She's
Yeah.
been looking forward to this for weeks.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, she'll be there. You'll know who she is. She'll be loud. And
All right.
she'll let you know.
So you must be Trina.
Please do that. That'd be hilarious.
You'll know who she is. Too.
Yeah.
I mean, she will make it very apparent. I am Trina.
That's great.
So you're into duck hunting too.
Yeah.
So do you combine So I watch these. I don't duck hunt. I'd like to duck hunt, but I instead watch these YouTube videos of people duck hunting. And
That's fun.
So the ones I like are where they duck hunt, and then they have like the underground blind, and they have like a kitchen in there, and so they'll
man.
cook something up. Is that like the perfect two worlds for you, or?
So, I mean, if I were to ever experience that, I'm sure I would love it. I've seen those, but all the duck blinds that I've sat in have been either erected that morning, like we just brushed some stuff in, or there's actual like, I don't know what you call them, pop-up blinds or like A-frames or lean-tos or whatever, but you can brush things in, or we're just standing up against a tree or something. Like I've never been on a duck hunt that was at a place that had these like buried containers or whatever, and they're just frying bacon up, when the birds aren't flying. It was like got the football games on. No, I've never had a duck hunt like that or crane hunt or whatever they do with those, but I would certainly accept an invitation. But yeah, I mean, and I haven't duck hunted much recently. I got to go on one a couple weeks back. That was a lot of fun and kind of reminded me how much I enjoy it. But most of the duck hunting that I did it was damn hard work. Like I'd wake up at 3-something in the morning to go drive an hour and a half to get to. I went with Phil Hamilton, who's a buddy of mine, a couple of his friends, and we drive up to Lake Ray Roberts, which is just a little north of Denton, and we didn't have a boat. We just go to like this back part of the lake. His buddy he would go scout and stuff, and he knew these different pockets where we could get into. But there was just like these trails, and depending on which year, some years the lake was up, and you'd have to wade through a couple 100 yards of stuff, to like swampy stuff, to get where you're going. Other times it was dry, but there were times where we'd try a new spot and it didn't quite work, and so we're trying to find a new one, and just humping through miles and miles of shit, wearing our waders, carrying all of our stuff, and 4 or 5 dozen decoys and guns and blind bags. And
Hey guys, we want to tell you a little bit about Deadwake Archery Innovations. They got all kinds of awesome stuff. They create their very own custom designed CNC milled bows, and they do all kinds of crazy colors with the anodization. And you want to tell them a little bit more?
Yeah, so it is a Oklahoma State graduate. They're in Kansas, Oklahoma is where they're established. They do some great stuff, great killing machines for the water, honestly. And just go check them out. Thank you so much for Deadwake Archery Innovation for sponsoring this podcast.
But yeah, I mean, I've definitely gone out and shot 2 or 3 ducks way more times than I've gone out and shot a 4 or 5 man limit, with my buddies. But it's certainly a lot of fun. I haven't gotten far enough in it to where I felt like I had to have a dog and a boat and everything. I've had a few hunts where we've gotten in a boat and gone to do that, but most of them are just either like gentlemen's hunts where they drop us off at the side of the pond. We step out, and when the sun comes up, shoot our ducks and go home. But others really having to work for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I grew up deer hunting, and duck hunting when I got to college was more interesting at the time because, rather than just waiting all day or maybe not even weeks and weeks before you get an opportunity to take one shot, duck hunting, like, you're shooting all morning.
Yeah.
You got engaging multiple targets. If you miss one, there's another coming,
Yeah.
So it was just more excitement, I felt like. But overall, I feel like I'm more of I prefer to bow hunt more than anything, like in whatever I can hunt, like deer or pigs or elk, bear, whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, bow hunting's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Have you ever hunted fish with a bow?
Bow fishing?
Yes.
No. There was a creek that we used to fish all the time in college that we would catch hybrid bass out of at the right time of year. And after the hybrid would leave, the gar would come up. And, dude, we would hang it. We'd, like, foul hook them every once in a while. And you talk about a fight, dude, like a 30-pound gar that just got its full body that it can put into it. That was fun. And we used to talk about coming out there with bows and hammering them that way, but we never did.
One of our sponsors
Yes.
is Deadwake Archery, and they make bow fishing bows.
Really?
Yep.
So Trevor, get this man a
Hey.
get this man a bow.
Come on, dude. Yeah, I live on Lake Granbury, so there's plenty of stuff to run around there and bow fish for. But yeah, no, that would be awesome. I've never gotten involved enough. Like, some of my friends have done it, and they've got bow setups and they'll go out and do it frequently, but I haven't been able to match my schedules up with them to do it yet. But I'm sure it'd be a damn good time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you ever?
Go ahead.
I was say, whenever you're hunting, do you like sit there and like think about songs to write? Like, do you get any inspiration from like duck hunting or bow hunting or fishing?
Man, duck hunting not so much. I feel like because that's more. There's other people around, and there's just kind of too much action. You got to be. Well, I mean, you got to be kind of constantly scanning no matter what. I feel like in the deer blind though, it's a little easier to kind of think about those type of things and maybe bring the journal or whatever and sketch out a few ideas. But if nothing else, it just allows me to clear my head so where I'm more able to get in that mind space at a different time.
Yeah.
It just turns everything off and allows me to kind of just be more of a solo thing. I think that's what I appreciate most about bow hunting, is that there's never anybody else around.
Yeah.
Usually, like, whitetail is what I do primarily with the bow, just because of where I live. That's what's most available to me. And so when I'm sitting in the blind, unless I'm filming for like a TV show or something, which happens too, but it's usually just me sitting in a tree stand.
Yeah.
And so like I don't have headphones. I have my phone with me, but I'm not doing anything other than just listening to what's around me. And so that's just, it's cool. I've always appreciated that. Going back to that concert or conversation we were having earlier about what I listened to, I mean, it's the most boring answer of all time, but honestly, a lot of times I listen to the air conditioning. I get in the car and something comes on the radio that I'm just not in the mood to listen to, and rather than find something else, I just turn it off, and I'll just sit there in silence for a long time sometimes and just be in my head. Not that I'm bothered by anything or really, doing that on purpose, but sometimes it's just I can appreciate the silence.
Yeah. Is there a story behind your green guitar that you play?
Man, I have been pretty hard on that guitar. It's become my favorite guitar. So I built it from just a bunch of parts. It's kind of a Frankenstein guitar. I bought a neck online, and then there's a company called MJT that I had build the body and paint it, and then I used Glendale hardware, and they MJT reliced it, and they aged some stuff. And it's really cool. I found a picture years ago of like when the guitar was pretty much brand new. I'd had it a couple weeks, and we played out at LJT, and there's a picture of it, of me playing it, and it's like it had a few checks and like dings on it, and that were put on by the people that built the guitar. But over the years, like you look at it now, it's like, damn, dude, I've put that guitar through some shit. And
how long have you had it?
I think I built it in like 2016.
Okay.
So quite a while. But it was, as soon as I got it in my hands, and this is rare for guitars. Like I built it without ever playing it. Sometimes you're just like, I hope I like it, but we'll see. And as soon as I started playing, I was like, well, this is what I've been waiting on. Like, it immediately became my number one. And I've had other guitars over the years, and I switch it up frequently, but usually if I'm not playing it, it's because it's in the shop or something. Like I had to get it set up, or like I threw it around a little bit and it's got to get some repairs or whatever. But yeah, I've thrown that guitar, being, sometimes us musicians get a little moody. And I've tossed that thing around, and every time it happens, I throw it, and I'm like, well, this is probably the last time. It can't take this abuse anymore. That was probably the last time. And then I walk up and grab it and strum it, tune it up, and it's good to go. It's like,
I feel like it's
damn.
like it's almost a movie because he throws it, and it's like, or the guitar's like, I quit, and like throws his hat down, and then he goes up and picks it up. It's just like all broken. I don't know.
Yeah. But then, I was actually just telling this story the other day, or no, just a few minutes ago. We were out there because they'd asked me to sign this little baby, or like miniature guitar. It was a Paul Reed Smith, and my first guitar that I spent my own money on, first good guitar that I bought, was a Paul Reed Smith Custom 22, and damn good guitar. I played it for probably, I don't know, 8 or 10 years. It was at one point stolen, and was gone for a couple of months, but then it was recovered, brought back to me. So like me and this guitar have been through some shit, played thousands of shows. And one night, dude, we were playing a show, and I found out later that it was my pack that was the problem. But every guitar that I put on, it was just like it wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. It sounded like garbage, and so I was just frustrated. The shit crowd out front, nobody gave a damn. Like we were just everything was crumbling. And I walked backstage after getting the third guitar, which was my previous number one, that Paul Reed Smith, and I put it on. It sounded like ass. I took it off, walked backstage, and just tossed it into the green room towards a couch, but it didn't make it.
Oh.
And it hit like neck first, and I just watched it shatter like 12 pieces.
Oh.
And yeah, that was an unfortunate mistake. I still have the body, and I'm hoping that a qualified, very talented luthier could maybe build a new neck and put a new neck on it. It looks like the pocket would still accept a new neck. It just has to be like filed out or trimmed out a little bit. So, yeah, it's happened. That's the only time that I've actually confirmed killed a guitar, though.
Confirmed.
Yeah.
I don't.
He got the dog tag and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like was the goal, but to me, it's kind of part of your image now. That green guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Like anytime I think Mike Ryan, it's like I see that green guitar.
Yeah.
I can picture it in my head.
You know,
so it's
That's cool. I never really thought of it like that, but I was having a conversation with somebody earlier in the business, and they said the exact same thing because they saw a picture of me like recently we posted with an SG, and they were like, "Man, it's like I almost didn't recognize you because you weren't holding the green guitar." He's like, "Every time I think of you, I just think of that green Telly." It's like, "Oh man, well that's cool." I've always been a Telly fan, and I've got a couple other ones, but that one is no doubt my favorite, man. Of all the ones that I've played. I mean, I still love that Paul Reed Smith. One day we'll see if we can play her again, but yeah, that green Telly means a lot to me for sure.
Speaking of favorites, what's been your favorite song that you've written?
Man, so another difficult question to answer, but I feel like I always lean towards either Damn Good Goodbye or Dear Country Music. For me, those were songs. Damn Good Goodbye, it was a couple of details I changed to involve the other songwriters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't have any friends that went to Auburn, but one of the guys that I wrote the song with did. And so for him, that line was for him. For me, it was the tech thing, because I had a bunch of my friends that went to tech. I almost went there myself, but that story, like, that was pretty much, the song makes it sound like they were consecutive days. It didn't happen in consecutive days, but the summer before my first year of college was like, that was what I was talking about, and everything that happened in that song, other than the locations, that was like what I was going through, And so it was really personal for me, and for it to be as well received as it was just really cool, because it hit home with a lot of other people too. And so that song, unfortunately, when we released it, that was during the COVID years, and so I wasn't able to go play the shows and really get those face-to-face reactions as often. But since we've been able to go out and play them, and we still get really great reactions from it. But I think for that reason too, like, that was like, there were several people that told me that that was their senior class song that year, when they were graduating, and that was such a strange time, but for that song to be available and be out, like, I'm glad we wrote it, and I'm glad that it was there, especially for the kids, like, during that time, because that were fans of it, because they weren't even able to go to their own graduations, and they missed out on so many parties because they weren't letting people get together. It was just so weird. Like, you couldn't even have a at-home party with more than 5 people or whatever they were telling you to do. It was bullshit.
I'm sorry, real quick. As one of those kids that was a part of that year, that, like, when you released the song and it was in the COVID year, I graduated in 2020.
Okay.
So I didn't get a normal graduation, normal last half of the senior year. Yeah, that song, like, meant a lot to, like, me and a lot of other, like, of my classmates that went through that, because, like, we saw like the stuff that, like, normal people go through, and we kind of, like, felt that, like, camaraderie with the story of Damn Good Goodbye. So I was gonna thank you for like putting that song out, even though it kind of was a weird year. It like it really resonated with, I know, like my class, and I'm sure his class too, of like that song graduating and everything. So.
Yeah. Well, thanks for letting me know, dude.
Yeah.
It's always hard, like when I write a lot of songs about love gone wrong, you know, and people tell me all the time, that they just appreciate my music. It helped them through some hard shit, and I was like, well, I hate that you had to go through that, but I'm glad that I was able to in some way help, you know, with that process. I went through, you know, as most people do, I went through some shit. I was lucky enough to find the valve of songwriting, or the avenue, you know, to kind of get me through it. I definitely used it as a form of therapy, and as bad as I was feeling writing about it and turning a tough situation into, you know, something that can help me with my, you know, furthering my career, but also like kind of inspire other people as well, and help them with a dark time. It's just really encouraging to me. You know, I really appreciate that. As far as like compliments go, I can't think of a better one than for when somebody comes up and says, you know, something that I'd written really helped them, you know, through a tough time. It's cool, man.
Do you ever? So I like to ask this to people that have like a song like that's like it's a huge hit. Do you ever get tired of like talking about that song, hearing people ask questions about that song? Like, no. We get mixed responses. Some people are like, yeah, I could care less about that song, and other people are like you know, they're like,
no, I mean, I've just, you know, I don't think I'll ever get tired of people just being nice enough to come up and say something like that, you know. There are times like when people go a little too far and they give me a compliment and they're like, no, dude, you don't understand. Like, you need to know. And they just keep digging, like keep like bashing it into me. It's like, okay, I appreciate it. Like, let me talk to other people too. But they'll get a little intense with you, and they'll take you down the dark path that they were down, and they'll explain to you in vivid detail about what they were going through and exactly how it changed. It's like, I get it. You know, I appreciate that. It's like, there's a lot of other people I'd rather be talking to right now. But
Hey, we've heard this from we actually heard it from Reed Southwell, because we got to talk to him the night he played Cat Fry last year, just in passing, and he was like, you know, man, sometimes it's the guys more than the girls that are like more intense about like talking to you. So I was wondering if that was the same experience.
Yeah, I mean, so the girls, sometimes, you know, you can tell what their intentions are, and it's easy to get around that, you know. But yeah, with the guys, like sometimes there's just like a lot of insecurity there, and so you don't want to like further that insecurity or talk to them. But it's like, man, if you would just talk to me like you talk to your other friends, like this would be more enjoyable for me. Don't put me on a pedestal. Don't continue to keep complimenting me, or like feel like every time I walk by or make eye contact, you got to come up and say something else. Like, just treat me like you're going to treat anybody else, and that'll allow me to let you in. You know, if I see you just like you immediately come up and want a picture and you want an autograph and you want to say all this stuff, that's fine. But like, you're probably not gonna be like,
you're just separated into a different category.
Yeah, when you're doing that way, it's like, all right, well, you're just trying, not that you're clout chasing or whatever, but you're trying to get a picture, you're trying to get your thing. But like, they kind of establish that dynamic between us. It's like, man, if you want to talk about some shit, you want to hang out, like that's fine, but maybe just don't have your camera out, like trying to get videos of me.
As we have three cameras going on.
I was like, well, no, this is a different situation. But like, yeah, I mean, sometimes people just, they don't quite understand it, but it's fine. I don't expect them to. I just go to the back lounge of the bus, excuse me, and excuse myself, or you know, sometimes I'll I'll have somebody around and give them the look, and they'll say, "Excuse me, Mr. Ryan, we have to leave. There's been an emergency."
It's like going on a date and like having your friend call you.
Yeah.
Call me in 30 minutes, and then you're like, "Oh my gosh, Sarah was in a car wreck. What?"
Oh man, yeah,
that's great though.
I got one more question for you.
yeah.
So, off your first album, the song "Night Comes Falling,"
Uh-huh.
can you tell us a little bit about that song? That's probably my favorite song.
Man, oh, I'm really digging deep for this. So that was the first album. Night Comes Falling was originally gonna be my first project ever. I had written a bunch of songs, by myself and with friends, and then there was a couple cover songs I was gonna do. Long story short, I was really green in the industry, had no recording experience at all. And I got some guys to record the album that ended up making an album that they wanted to make, but it wasn't really what I was trying to do. It was just, I won't say that I was misled. I just think that I didn't know enough to control the atmosphere enough to really make what I wanted to make. And I let them kind of take the reins, and when it was all said and done, the finished product was not what I wanted to put out. And so I put it on the shelf, and we went back and recorded the first one, and that was a 6-track EP acoustic. And then I kind of learned a little bit more about what I wanted to do, and Night Comes Falling was a cool song. And what I was really trying to capture with it was like, this was at a time when I was, I don't know how fresh off of a breakup I was, but fresh enough to still like be able to feel it. And it just seemed like whenever I would, I was in college, and so I'd have plenty of stuff to do during the day, but I wasn't the most socially active guy, and so if I wasn't working, like a lot of times I wasn't going out anywhere at night. I was just kind of doing whatever. I had a few friends that I would hang out with, but I didn't have a strong nightlife, if you will. So I just felt like whenever the night came around, a lot of times it was just for no reason at all, but it would just, the lonely feelings would just start to creep in. And that was just kind of a way that I dealt with it, was writing that song, and it seemed like again, writing about it kind of helped, and getting to put it down in the studio. I recorded that song 2 or 3 different times, acoustic and full band, but that first record that I recorded with those other guys, like it exists somewhere on a hard drive, but it'll never
See the light of day?
No, it's happening. What's happening with that is what Morgan Wallen wishes it was happening with his current
Yeah.
album that is being released against his will. But as far as I know, I'm the only one with the hard drive. So
He's got it in the safe box at home.
He'll be out in the yard
Yeah.
tomorrow beating it with an axe, destroying it.
yeah, no, we'll keep it. We'll keep it just to. I burned a couple CDs though of it. I know that there's a couple because
no.
I had to. I had to let a few other people listen just to make sure I wasn't crazy, and they confirmed. Yeah, this thing is not what you want for your first release. But yeah,
Well, thank you for stopping by. We appreciate it.
you bet.
And we'll put all your links in the description, and people can go and check out a show. And
Well, thank y'all for having me, man.
of
thank
course.
you.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We'll
Awesome.
go play golf sometime whenever you come back.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
wait till it's above 50.
Yes.
or
Yeah.
so at
Sounds
least.
good to me.
But-
All right. Thanks again, man.
all right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.